continuing story. So.
Different every week, don't we? It's versatile that way. Excuse me, but it's summertime, I know, but we need to make it snow. So will you pretend with me that this is snow? Okay? Don't we like snow?
No, no. No, you have to shovel it. No.
You make ice cream with it, you know?
No.
There's other things to do with it. Well, do you remember where we were at last week? It was cold and it was winter last week. You weren't here.
No, I wasn't.
You were here.
Was I here?
You were here last week. Was it snowing in our story last week? Thank you. It was snowing. And Sister White went up to New Hampshire, Washington, where they started the first Seventh-day Adventist church, but they was having some problems. You know, the devil likes to cause problems sometimes. We can't listen to him. Well, there was 18 people that wanted to be baptized, but it was 10 degrees below.
The lake was frozen over.
Yes, it was frozen over. And they didn't know, you know, what was going to happen, but they really wanted to be baptized. And the parents said, no, 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 you cannot be baptized. It's just too cold. Well, they were young and they were youth. And they got out with their saws, I think that's how they do it, and they saw it, and it was 2 feet deep of ice that they had to remove. And then they made steps to go down into the baptismal pool. You got to really love the Lord and want to be baptized, honey. Right? So 12 out of 18 got baptized. And it's said in the story that they don't know who the preacher was that did all the baptism for the 12 as they was going in and out, but I imagine he had to be chilled. So here we are, they're getting baptized, and everybody was happy, and there was people watching them, you know, and they would get them out, and as soon as they would get them out, they would wrap them up into blankets. Don't you reckon they should have done that, huh? And then they ran up to the farmhouse and got warm. But, you know, I know all of you haven't been baptized, but most of you out there have been baptized, and I have been rebaptized, and I'll tell you, it is so great to come out of that water the second time, more so than I did when I was a child, just knowing that God's in you and you're on fire, and you just want to tell everybody, you know, you just can't hide that one under a bushel once it happens, you know, it's just, you're on fire. So the 12 that got baptized, and then in the spring, the other 6 got baptized. And out of that group of 18, there came, I think, 3 or 4 conference presidents. There was missionaries that came that went to the other places to be missionaries, like we're hearing today about Africa. And we had our first woman Bible worker that went house to house and gave Bible studies and went to rehab places and nursing homes and sanitarium to read the scriptures to people. So you could always witness. So we'll think about that. Was a chilling note, wasn't it? Now the snow goes away.
Oh,
now you guys are happy.
Yes.
Okay, so now we have to put up something else. This is a complicated one today, okay? This, now we're going to go, there's a gentleman that was on a train, but he had to come partway by boat. And he was coming over, but he had an envelope with him. And on this envelope, there was some words. And the words was, Mr. J.N. Anderson. Very good. And so this guy wanted to see J.N. Anderson. But you know what? He had a problem. There was a language barrier. He had all of his suitcases and his luggage, and there he stood, and he had this envelope that had J.N. Anderson on it. And he landed finally in Battle Creek, Michigan, because it said J.N. Anderson, Battle Creek, Michigan. So he had to come over on a boat and just would show this envelope to people. And I kind of know how he felt, because, you know, when I was in Cancun, I had to hold a note up saying, I'm allergic to grains, I need to be gluten-free, you know, and everybody reads it. And so here he was saying, J.N. Anderson, you know, but nobody could understand him, so he went over to him and he held it up, and he goes, and he says, oh, okay, and the guy just kind of looked at him like, you're saying what, you know? And so he says, well, we'll get somebody to take you. So they took him over to Battle Creek to the Review and Herald Publishing Store. And he held up his sign again, but J.N. Anderson wasn't there. But guess who was there? James White. And he met him. And so then he realized that, you know, he didn't speak English, he spoke French. And so they had a little problem going on there. But he took him home to Ellen, and Willie was there. He was 15 now. And they sent for, I thought it was interesting, Mr. Kellogg to come and be his interpreter. That makes the cereal. And so, anyway, he took them over there, and then they asked Mr. Kellogg to stay with them in the house. And within 5 weeks, he was learning to speak English. I've been 70-some years, and I still can't speak it right, you know. But he learned it in 5 weeks. And it said that their son would go around and say, table, Bible, lamp, and then he would repeat it after her. And then while he was here for 1.5 years, this gentleman was, and he went and preached some, went to some camp meetings and everything, but then he had to go back. He wanted to go back, and he was from Switzerland. So he had to take the boat back over to Switzerland again, and he asked if somebody please could send somebody help over to help. And James and Ellen White said, well, we'll do our best, but, you know, we don't have a lot of people. So he went back, and 1 year went by, and 2 years went by, and 3 years went by, and didn't have anybody to send. And it's funny how people feel about it, that they don't want to help anybody that they don't see and know. So therefore, the church members didn't really want to send money to Africa because they didn't know anybody there. You know, we kind of like to help people we know. So they was having trouble getting a conference and everybody to say, yes, we can send some money. But then they had somebody to send. Now, who do you think went to Switzerland as a missionary? No, she didn't go. That's right, because that was the name on the envelope. So J.N. Anderson, his wife passed away 2 years ago, and he had 2 children, a boy and a girl, and they all got on the boat, and they went over, and they were the first missionaries there. Then after they was there, J.N. Anderson wrote Ellen a letter saying, we really need some help. Can you send us some stuff? And so James and Ellen, you know, they sacrificed all they could sacrifice to help people out. But somebody had given Ellen a silk dress. Ooh, yeah. Woo. And so, but Ellen felt guilty because she knew that they put all their money in the Lord's work. So she took it to a sales shop, and she asked them to sell it, and all this money was gone to the Lord. Now, this is back in 1870-some, and she got $50 out of that silk dress. And she sent it all to J.N. Anderson. And then when the people realized that she sacrificed a dress to do it, then people was willing to give, and then they helped. And that's why we send money to Africa and to other places, so that we can help get the word out, so we can all go home, right? And he was talking about the light, and next week our story is about the bright light. So think about that for a week. Thank you.